That's weird. Hi, this is Mark Arnold with the Fun Ideas Podcast, and today we're going to be talking about the Fab Four Music Festival, and I have two people that are going to be attending and exhibiting at that festival, Michael Ventrella to my left, and below me, Fred Velez. And soon later in the show, we'll have Charles Rosenay, who is putting on the show, to give you more details about when to attend, what to do, things to see, bands to hear, and other things like that. So welcome to the shows, guys.
Hey, hi guys.
Thanks for inviting us.
Okay.
Hi, Mark.
So anyway, the only thing I know about it is it's on July 11th, and it's called the Fab Four Music Festival. So,
Nope, it's on the 10th.
It's on the 10th. Oops.
The 11th is a Sunday. The 11th is the rain date. Hopefully, we're not going to have a rain date because it's outside.
Yeah, I see. Saturday.
Yeah, it's like on a.
Take two.
From what I can tell, when I looked on the Google Maps, it's a big park, and so they're going to have lots of things there. There'll be some people selling stuff. We'll be there with our books, and of course, people will be there selling T-shirts and drinks and who knows what else. And lots of bands, 10 bands. I mean, how can you miss that? I mean, that's going to be great.
Yeah. So, where's the location? Is there an address?
It's in Ansonia, Connecticut.
Ansonia, Connecticut.
Yeah, it's a big park in Ansonia. I'm not even sure exactly where it is. Please forgive me. Charles can give us much more information.
And one day I will attend myself because I've never been.
You're on the wrong coast. You know, that's your problem.
Yeah,
I've been to Massachusetts. That's the closest, but I've never been to Connecticut.
Okay.
In any case,
I lived in Boston for many years, so Connecticut wasn't that far away. Now it's more of a trip.
So,
yeah, I used to live in New York, and Connecticut was like a hop and skip and a jump, but now it's a big hop, skip and a jump where I am now.
Mm-hmm.
So
right.
We'll be there. I'm going to be selling my Beatles book, Across the Universe.
Mm-hmm.
That's a book about where we got a whole bunch of famous science fiction authors to write stories. What if the Beatles were? What if the Beatles were wizards, or what if they had never met, or what happens if they hadn't been successful? We took the what if, and there's a lot of really great stories, and it's gotten some great reviews, and I'm really proud of it. And I'll also be selling my Monkeys books,
mm-hmm.
as will Fred.
Can you name a few of the writers that helped participate in that book?
Sure, we got Spider Robinson, Gregory Benford, David Gerald. David Gerald is the guy who wrote The Trouble with Tribbles from Star Wars.
Oh, wow.
Everyone knows that one. Alan Steele, Pat Cadigan, Lawrence Watt Evans, Jody Lynn Nye, Gregory Frost, Kat Rambo, Keith DiCandido, Gail Martin. I mean, these are all, if you read enough science fiction, those names should be familiar to you, and many more.
Very cool. And Fred, what are you exhibiting? What are you bringing? Are you bringing?
I'll be bringing my two monkey books. My first one, A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You, The Monkeys from a Fan's Perspective, my stories and other fan stories about monkey fans fandom, my experiences with the guys, working with Davey on his books and things like that. And then the most current book is A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You 2, The Monkeys from International Fan Perspectives, which is not only my stories, but also stories from fans from around the world, from Japan, Australia, from Latin America, England, all over. And there's some really, really fun stories in here too, which I think everybody's going to enjoy. Also have interviews here, exclusive interviews with Valerie Carey's Vinay, famous actress who's been with the Monkeys and on shows like Batman and things like that. And also an exclusive interview with Dino Kovis of the New Monkeys, talking about his experiences with the New Monkeys. So, and also the staff of the Zilch podcast, Monkeys podcast, were interviewed for this book too. So a lot of great stories in here. I think everybody's going to enjoy them. Plus, I will be bringing my monkey themed Christmas CD, A Little Bit Christmas. These are Christmas songs done in the Monkey style. I did this before the Monkeys did their own Christmas album. So, and Mark has a copy and he likes it. So I'm bringing copies of this too.
Mm-hmm. Even if it's not Christmas, it's a good thing to get now. And
well, it'll be Christmas. It'll be Christmas
again.
It'll be Christmas in July.
Yes, exactly.
And of course, I'll have the books that Mark and I wrote. Good Times, the Monkeys book, where we go into every single song, and Headquarters, which for some reason I forgot to bring over here.
I have mine, but it's in the case back there. I
Yeah,
can go back
exactly.
there and get it. Okay.
So we've oh, here comes
Hey,
Charles.
look, it's Charles.
So we'll have all our books there.
Keep
We'll be
putting-
glad to talk to anybody about it. But as soon as Charles comes in,
But
we'll
I
say
got
hi.
that.
There you go,
got the
Headquarters.
book
Here's
here.
the Headquarters book. Thanks.
I'll be bringing my copies for you to sign, Mike.
Excellent, and I'll bring yours to sign in exchange. This will be the first
There
time
you
Brett and
go.
I see each other in person.
Exactly.
I'm also bringing all my novels, just to
Well,
mention.
you can discuss those until.
But those are novels.
Charles F. Rosenay. It was Charles Rosenay. And
There he is.
Yay! So, Charles, now that you're here,
Yeah, we've just been talking about books, and we haven't really said much about the festival, so it's your chance to fill in the blanks.
yeah, how did you get this underway so fast?
Uh-oh,
you
he can't
anything?
hear us.
Uh-oh.
That's not good.
We'll have to do it in sign language.
Yes. Boom.
In any case, we'll keep talking. Let's keep ad-libbing. Come on.
Yeah, well, Charles, so Charles is the one who sponsored this. He also did the Peter Tork Festival that I went to last year, or 2 years ago, I guess now, year and a half ago, whatever, right before the virus hit. That was a great fun experience, and I expect this one to be great too. I just hope we get good weather. It's not as hot as it's been, and it's not going to rain, and hopefully we'll have a nice day for it.
I have no audio. I can't hear them.
Oh, I can hear you.
Hear you.
We can hear you.
We can hear you fine.
Help, please.
I can, we can hear you fine. We can't see it now, but we did.
He's trying to figure it out.
We got a lot of editing to do on
There
this
you
show.
go. I know.
Yeah,
No,
can you edit this? I don't know.
I can edit it, but it's fun. Anyway, I can make it to 2 pieces.
We hear you.
We hear you fine. Yeah, keep talking.
Our
hear
next
you fine.
segment is
Our top story.
story for tonight.
Oh my gosh.
Charles, I hear you because
Yay!
I see your mic moving. I see that the camera's on, so you can talk. Even
We
if
can hear you. If
yourself,
you want to talk, we'll hear you.
we can hear you.
Maybe I just want to be Marcel Marceau.
There we go.
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Maybe I was trying a new character out today.
Clever.
No, so
Marlene.
I just couldn't hear anybody because the volume was off and I didn't know how to turn it on. Hi, fellow authors. How are you?
All right.
All right. So now we're all here. We can start the show over.
All the book covers out of the way. Yeah,
Yeah, we've already talked about the book, so now you got to tell us about the festival.
Yeah. What are
Yeah.
They, where are they taking these books to sell? These fine books that they've shown.
Yeah, when am I bringing these?
Yeah. Charles had the book.
bringing them to Nolan Field in Ansonia, Connecticut for the Fab Four Music Festival on Saturday, July 10th. And it's all I've been talking about. And I'm like, wow, I've almost forgotten where and when. It's a week from Saturday, depending on when this airs. And it's 10 great bands, one beautiful day, and some cool authors who are joining us. I think they're all here except for a guy by the name of Paul Ferrante, who wrote a book, 500 Miles to Memphis, about the Beatles, and Tony Ranzoni, who's written some cool rock and roll books about Connecticut rock and roll. So he's more of a regional reason that he's there. But you guys are there because it's Beatles and Monkeys, and we've got 9 Beatle bands and 1 Monkeys band. So it's going to
Yay!
be fab fun for all.
Are you expecting the bands to only play Beatles music, or will they do anything else, do you think?
So that's a good question. What we do before the show is I get everyone's set lists. And the first thing I do is weed through them and make sure that no one's repeating any songs.
That's great.
Really cool concept, because 10 bands, you're there from noon to 8 o'clock at night. The bands are on for 30 minutes, quick sets, 30 minutes, and then 15 minutes off for the change of stage, bring on the next band. And you don't want each band to end with Twist and Shout, or to say, oh, here's our showcase song, we're going to all do Come Together, or While My Guitar Gently Weeps. You can't have that. So each band has to do different material.
Excellent.
Number 2, most of them have their the stuff that they love to do. The Black Ties, high energy young band. They're going to Decca song, the Cavern song, a lot of young stuff. The One Sweet Dream, for example, all McCartney music. So solo music, band music. It's all all Paul stuff. Another band, Beatles, Britain's Best, New Jersey, are one of the two suits and boots bands. I always use that expression. The ones that wear the wigs, they wear the jackets, the ties, and they got the shoes, and they try to look the most like them. And them and the Hofners are the two dress-up bands. The Hofners are the headliners, and both of them will be doing, classic stuff. A lot of B-cuts. There's some bands who do rockin', more hard rockin' versions of Beatle things. The Navals have a female lead singer, so that adds a twist to that. And Number 9 does the B sides and deeper cuts. So if you're a diehard fan, you're gonna get the eclectic. You're gonna get the stuff that you don't hear every day and don't hear when you see most typical Beatle bands. And if you're just the casual fan and you want to hear the hits, well, guess what? You're gonna hear those all as well.
Cool. Very good. Sounds good. Plus, you'll have one band that will not be doing Beatles. That's Zilch.
Yes. The man with the monkey's drum head behind him brings that out, and that's a great example. So every year, we always would throw in a little curveball. We had a group called Black Rabbit who did Beatles stuff, and when you heard them, they were amazing. When you looked at them, you were a bit surprised. We had a group that did Who stuff and Kinks and British Invasion, which one of the bands do this year too, along with Beatles. They'll be doing Mersey and British Invasion stuff. But we thought, let's. When we had at a past venue where there were 2 stages, an indoor and an outdoor stage, and we're able to do 20 bands, I thought, well, let's throw in, my other favorite band, and of course it would be Monkees, to just, mix it up a little, see what the reaction was. And the reaction was incredible. There were probably more people outdoor on the little stage than there were for that particular band inside watching the band, the Beatles band. So I said, you know what, this year, even though it's only one stage and it's 10 bands instead of 20, we're going to go with the Zilch again, because they were so great at the Peter Tork Memorial Convention, where Michael, you were there and you remember, and they're so great when they play out at been at our conventions and festivals before. So they deserved it. They're good enough. And you know what, as Plastic EP always says, usually Beatle fans are Monkey fans and Monkey fans are Beatle fans. So it mixes it up. Right around 3:00 in the afternoon, people want to take a break from the Beatles. They can hear Monkees. And if they want to walk around and visit the vendors, that's a good time to visit all our authors, or visit our food trucks, or visit our other special guests. We consider our authors all special guests, of course, but we also have one special guest who's maybe the special guest of honor. And he's somebody who recorded on the Apple label for the Beatles. George and John were enamored by the title of his song, by the outrageousness of the song, and anything called, the King of Fun.
King of
They had to release it. They had to release it. So Brute Force will be there. His real name is Stephen Friedland. He used to be a member of the Tokens, wrote a bunch of songs for the people like Peggy March and the Chiffons and the Circle. And of course, the connection of the Tokens with the Monkees is they wrote Laugh.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
And then when I asked Jay Siegel about that, who's the lead vocalist, the wee, 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 he barely remembered that. But he said, oh,
I barely remember it. It's not my favorite.
thank you for reminding me. So Brute Force will be there. He'll be performing his infamous, notorious King of Fa, and it better be effing great. And he's also going to be at his table signing autographs, meeting fans, taking pictures, and he's re-released it on a 45 on the Ace label. So he'll have that available, for people to get autographed and sign and bring home. Well, you guys, are you going to be able to also sign and autograph your book so fans can?
Of course.
Of course. Yes, definitely.
So a
Definitely.
fan should come, not just because they want to hear all this great music. They want to come and bring home some great souvenirs that can be inscribed to them personally. They can get Brute Force's 45. They can get one or both of Fred's Monkey books. They can get a plethora of Michael Ventrella books, right?
Yes.
Toro.
He had a bunch. There we go.
I'll bring them all, even though some of them aren't
Get
clearly
that Constitution
No,
book.
Beatles or monkeys. even the Constitution.
And
book,
Mark
yes.
Arnold will be represented at the convention,
I
even though
will,
he's
as
there,
a
right?
co-author, even though I'm on the West Coast, but
Yes,
I'm
if they
presenting
ask-
this today as an advanced promotion. I do have a question for you, Charles.
Yeah.
How hard was it after so long with this pandemic and everything to get everybody together to do this brand new show?
The bands couldn't be more, they jumped on it. The question was not how finding the 10 bands, it was telling the 10 more bands or 15 more bands already been filled, having not performed for 14 months. I'm a DJ. I wasn't out doing parties for all those months. I wasn't booking bands. I wasn't doing any of the tours. So for me, this was like, oh, please just life be normal or as close to normal as possible. We're planning it far enough in advance. It'll be the summer, but we also had in mind, it's got to be outdoors. Giant field, a football field where people can 6 foot social distance if they have to. Fortunately, they're not going to have to wear masks outside. But there's a bigger plan, and we thought, worst case scenarios, everyone will be able to spread out, and hopefully all the bands will be able to perform. And it's going, so beautifully, thank God. And you always worry: are there people who still won't go out because they're afraid or worried or safety concerns? And that's been balanced by that many people who are so hungry and starving for live music and for a great event that there's so many more that are coming than are staying home afraid.
Yeah, and that's happening everywhere. Here in Oregon, they just literally today they just ended the mask mandate and stuff like that. And there's a couple conventions coming up in the next couple months, sold out, all gone.
When are you going to be taking off your mask, Mark? Sorry, it was Charlene. She texted me to say that.
Offensive with the off-front.
That's right. You should have known.
I would never say such a thing.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to this because this is my first major outing since the book, my second book came out. And also, besides the pandemic last year, there was my own health issues I had to deal with. And fortunately, I'm feeling well enough that I can do this. I'm so looking forward to seeing the fans. It's been too long. It's been way too long. I wanted to be at the Peter Tork Memorial Convention last year. Couldn't do it. But this year, I'm try and stop me this time.
There was the Beatles convention that they do every year, the Beatle Fest in New Jersey. And we had a table there right when our book was coming out. So now I've got boxes of books that we were planning to bring to that my publisher brought over to me last weekend saying, take them there. Maybe you can sell them all. We'll see if I can sell them all. I'd be happy if I could.
Oh, hopefully, if not, it's not like they're going to go to waste and you're going to leave them over. They'll always sell in the future and there'll be more festivals and fests and events.
Yeah, I'm hoping to go to the Beatle Fest when they finally bring it back to New Jersey again.
That'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun.
I think people will.
I've always enjoyed it in the past, but I've never been a vendor at it. I've just been a participant. And one of the things I love about the Beatle Fest is just sitting, listening to the music, and that's why I'm going to be so happy to go to this.
Me too. I'm so looking forward to this.
Hey, Charles.
So for many years, I did those type of festivals. And still would, if there was a city that wanted it. But we're talking about, starting from the late 70s, right on through, the late 90s, Connecticut, Boston, Cleveland, upstate New York, Seattle, Miami, endless places, including Tokyo and places overseas. I did these type of conventions and had similar guests and had that one band that would play maybe an opening act or two, but it would be, a Beatlemania, the Cast, or 1964, a headline. And we sort of transitioned away from that. In those days, we had 50 or 100 vendors. In those days, it was not one guest. It was Cynthia Lennon and May Pang and Angie McCartney and Joey and Cousin Brucey, and it would be a whole laundry list of guests. Here, it's a very different concept. It's all about the music, a la Abbey Road on the River, or the Liverpool Beatles festivals where it's 100 bands from 100 different countries all coming together to be part of a celebration. This is the only outdoor festival of its kind for Beatle fans on the East Coast, and it's different than a convention in that there's going to be vendors. Of course, we have 4 authors, we have 5, 6, whatever vendors, merch stuff, but that's not the emphasis. It's not the emphasis on the commercialism. It's the emphasis. I always used to say, they say, what is it about the Beatles? And I'd say it's the 3 M's. It's the magic, which is the X factor, which you can't put your finger on, and whatever that case may be. It's the memories, the nostalgia factor, the for the fans who lived through it, and the parents and grandparents who passed it on generations. But the utmost, the uber alles was the music, the 3 M's: magic, memories, and music. And the music is the above all, and it's the reason we are all talking about it. It's the reason it's still alive, going on 60 years later. And sometimes you hear a song on the radio, and it's so rare to hear Beatles music on the radio, but if you do, it just pops out. It's 3D. It's beyond that little radio or boombox or wherever you're in the car. And when you hear it live, it's just such a special feeling. Not only if the band is playing it, note for note, as some of the bands do, but if they're doing their little take on it, if they're rocking it up a little, or they're going, a little, a pumped up version of it, whatever the case may be. There's nothing like hearing live music, and hearing the Beatles music live just adds another dimension.
I have a quick question. Other than all the bands should be playing different songs,
Yeah.
do you have any other restrictions, or anybody can play it in any style they want?
Well, I have a new restriction for this show. I want, when you guys ask me something, can you all 3 ask at the same time? Don't be
Okay.
polite.
Yeah, of course we will.
Yeah,
Yes.
So, well,
Absolutely.
of course, I'll ask him.
No, the only other restriction is that they stick to the 30 minutes, because if there's a band that I can't, pull off the stage, and they're going on 40 minutes, and then the next band needs that 15 minutes to set up, that changes the whole night. And for an event that we want to end at 8, because there's an after party at 9, not far away in a club. Michael, I didn't tell you about that, but you are invited. Fred, you're not invited. No,
I never get to go anywhere.
I'm gonna crash.
wait, who's staying over at the hotel? Fred, you are?
Yes, I am.
You both are.
And so is Michael.
Ah,
Not
so-
the same.
Not together.
the
Not
same-
together.
Not together.
Not together.
I'm bringing the wife.
Is Linda? I was gonna say, is Linda coming?
Yes, she is. Yes, she
Well,
is. The lovely
My
Linda.
wife is not, because of her health issues. But
Yes,
I'm
how's she
hoping,
doing?
maybe I'll stay a second night. I'm not sure. So
Your
we'll
wife
see.
is doing
There's a
okay,
good party.
Hope?
Maybe I will.
wishing her well. Yeah, there's an after party.
But we-
So what I was getting at was that it could go on later, but it's a daytime show. It's still that festival and the warmth under the sun. If it did go that late, there would be no lights, and it wouldn't be the same. And the other reason, it's just not fair to other bands. So they're all good about it. I checked their playlist. It's all pretty close to the cuff. Some of them are doing 25 minutes plus an encore. Some are doing 30 minutes right on the nose. And some, I had to say, well, hey guys, you're doing 30 minutes, that's great, but you've got 44 songs. It's not possible.
Plus the Ramones.
The best song in the world.
It starts on 45.
Yes, I will remember things we said today.
Who we call the headline band, the Hoffners, who've been at every show and have been, the closing band for every show. They can go a few minutes longer depending on how everything has fallen, but they tend not to, because they're a big meet and greet band. When it's over, they take photos with the fans who are sticking around and all that. And it's amazing how many fans actually will come at noon. Some come at 11 because there's an early bird, option, and they want to, bring their lawn chairs or their blankets up front, and they want to be in the closest spot, or they want to visit their vendors right off the bat before anyone else does, or the food trucks. We can't forget that there's going to be a nice, array of different food truck options. But the people, stay sometimes till 8 o'clock, and, they make a day of it, and it's great. It's not Woodstock where you're gonna be splashed around the mud and, worried about the safety of things.
Having a baby.
Clean event, a friendly event, been doing it forever. Half the people come from year to year, so we all know each other. It's a reunion of sorts. And the ones that, are first timers are just having the greatest time. And I loved, I think I alluded to earlier, the fact that it's, first generation fans. And, when I used to do these conventions early on, I'd say, oh, I love it. I'm helping keeping the spirit of the Beatles music alive because parents are bringing their kids. Well, guess where we are now? It's grandparents bringing their kids who've got kids of their own. So I love the 3-generation thing when you look out there and you just know it. You just know that it's that 3-generation family, and it's great. It makes it, makes me as a promoter of this happy to see that.
Yeah,
Yes, I like to go in my rocker and rock out.
When I'm
Charles, what do you do during these shows? I mean, obviously Michael and Fred will be probably roaming around a little bit selling their books. What do you do? Just fret, or do you sit there with the time saying 30 minutes, or what are you doing during the show?
Usually I have a stage manager who's doing that, and hopefully he'll be with us to do it this year as well. What I'm doing is I do some of the emceeing. Of course, I'm running around to make sure that the vendors are happy, the food trucks are happy, the fans are happy, the front gate is all secured and all that, and people aren't, finding ways to sneak in, all that good stuff. So I try to MC as much as possible because I like my personality to be on the stage, and how can people resist this face? It adds to the whole ambiance of the show. But our friend Ken Michaels, who's
Ken.
fellow podcaster and Beatles DJ and all that good stuff, who's been doing it forever, and he's been doing festivals forever as well. So he does most of the intros and most of the on-stage stuff when I can't. But you'll see me in one spot, talking to a band member, and then like within seconds, I'll be 150 feet on the other side of the yard taking care of someone who had tickets or for whatever reason couldn't, whatever the situation is. I'm all over the place. Yeah.
Very cool.
What kind of crowd do you usually get? How many people?
That varies from show to show. Weather is a big factor, and this whole post COVID is another big factor. We've sold more advance tickets than we've ever have. For an outdoor fest, unlike a convention which sells 1,000 tickets in advance, and then the walk up, you hope it goes 5, you hope it matches it. The festivals get 20 tickets in advance, and then 1,000 people show up at the door. They're waiting to see how the weather is. We've sold over 300 tickets, which is, for me, wow, I've never had that before. So that's a great sign.
Mhm.
And most of our promotion we save for the last 2 weeks. So, I'll be doing tons of interviews. We'll be doing the Facebook campaigns, all the stuff that we normally do, radio, television, newspaper articles for that last week push. And, we can promote forever. But if somebody says, nah, I'm going to wait and see how the weather is, there's no way they're going to get that ticket. Even if it's a few bucks more at the door, they're going to wait and see. And that's the majority. But in answer to your question, the show averages about 1,000 people. We've never surpassed 1,200 on it, and never had less than 800. One year we did 2 dates. We thought, you know what, let's get 20 bands. We'll do 2 days of it. Instead of getting 1,000 a day, we'll get 2,000. Well, guess what? We got 600 each day. It's still even better.
Wow.
Yeah.
Still the double amount. So we went back to the 1 day.
I'm definitely
Well, I'm looking
forward to it.
It's going to be all.
What's going on here?
It's all going to be family friendly, I'm sure.
Very family friendly. There'll be hopefully a face painter there, so a hula hooper there. There'll be a lot of stuff for the kids to do. But you look out in the crowd and you just see the kids just dancing around to Yellow Submarine and all the songs that are played, and they're having a heck of a time. They're getting ice cream and kettle corn from the vendors. They're going up and tugging, Daddy, can I have Fred Velez's book? And they go,
Yes, Daddy, buy the book for your kid. Buy the book for your
you want
kid.
Ventrella's book. You don't want that. No, Daddy, really? Fred Velez is prettier. I want that one. No, you want Michael Ventrella's. It's much better written. No, Daddy. So, the kids are hard.
Look, a monkey's
What's
Christmas.
that Constitution book?
The Constitution book. That's it. Yeah, everyone's going to come to buy that.
I'm brokenhearted because as you guys know, I've been working on a book for a long time now, and it was supposed to be ready. And my launch dates were going to be for the Beatle fans, because there's 6 chapters, Beatle chapters, was going to be this event. And normally I sell tons of merch and records, and I'd set up, tons of tables to sell stuff. And I prepared zero, hoping that I would have nothing but my book there. And that in between bands, I'd go over and sign a few copies and all that. And then I have this paranormal convention, July 24th and 25th in Connecticut, which is Connecticut's first ever paranormal convention. And the book is more horror themed. So that's ideal for that. These two events was supposed to be the kickoff, and it doesn't look like it's going to be ready for either. So I'm glad you guys will have product. You'll have the actual books, because to be an author and to not have a book at an event is kind of heartbreaking, but I'll have it in future shows,
I guess you could do advanced sales or something like that. Some special.
Right.
I
And
tried
if
that one
anybody out
convention. I did
if
try that
anybody
one
out-
convention. I had a book that was coming out and it didn't make the convention, and all we had was the review copies that I was not allowed to sell. And I could say, it's going to look like this. Do you want to order it? And nobody did,
They want the item, they want it signed. What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
Well, if anybody has our books in advance, we'll definitely sign them if they bring them with them.
I'll sign anything. You give me part of your body, I'll sign it. That's not a
No,
problem.
they have to buy a separate one to get it signed. What's wrong with you?
They already bought it.
Should we mention any discounts for saying plastic EP or something like
No,
that?
we charge double if you say that. Forget.
Yes. If you
Wait,
mention plastic EP, we'll say it's a ripoff.
plastic IP. It's a whole new stock thing. Fred Velez, shouldn't
Yes.
I be on the table? Because it'll be really rarer if fans get my signature and yours in a book where I wrote the forward. Right? I just thought of that.
Yes. And also you wrote your excerpt on the back cover as well.
Which I didn't even know till I saw the book. Thank you for that. That was very cool.
Sure. If you want to sign it too, that's great.
It's a good idea.
More the merrier.
You know what I think we should do? You know how the Monkees were asked, well, do you play your own instruments? And, Mickey would go, no, I play Mike's guitar, and David would say, so I think you should sign each other's books and really use people. No,
Yeah,
Mark.
I'll sign Mike's book.
There you go. I'll forge Mark's signature. So it's already got Mark signed it. See, now you get both of our signatures. No one will ever know.
They'll never know. You kids, you can either get this Monkey's Christmas CD or this Monkey's Christmas CD.
Which one's better?
Mine was first.
Oh, I have a question for you, Charles, about all the bands based on this. Are you going, since you're having a Monkees band, are you going to have like a battle of the bands at any point with Monkees versus Beatles? Or
Never.
Oh, okay.
I'm not in competition. No.
When we started doing this, I had a few bands that were like, listen, can we get this time slot? Could we be the only ones who dress? Why? Well, it's a competition, isn't it? And I go, no, it's not a battle of the bands. We're camaraderie here. I want you there before the next band goes on, rooting them on, because they're going to stay after you're on, to do the same. So just the opposite, it's all family. And, that's one of the reasons why, they're not competing by all playing similar songs. We could have 10 bands all doing Pepper. And then it would be, about who sounds better or who can change it the most. That would be interesting. But no, this is the same way it's family friendly. It's also band friendly. Each band, supports the band before it and after it. And some of them come right early in the morning and stay through all the other bands. Some have to ask me, can we go on early because we have a gig at night somewhere else, but they don't want to miss the event, so that's pretty cool. We've got, and also a wide variance of ages. Some of the bands, some of the guys have been doing it forever. They're like the veteran Beatle guys, who've if they take off the makeup and wigs, you'd never recognize them. But when you go, 50 feet back, they look just like them. And then there's the others who are more comparable to the Fab Four, who try to sound great and don't even care about the look. You know, number 9, they're not a 4-piece. I think they're originally 9 members, which is why they were number 9 as the first name. I don't know if there's still that many. They're the only band, I think, where the stage plot varies greatly. The stage plot is, you know, the 3 mics in the front for guitars, the drums, and a keyboard on the side. And whether you're a 4-piece or 5-piece, that's pretty much, you know, what you're going to use. That's pretty much your standard. But then there's 1 or 2 who always mix that up just a bit. And we've got our sound man, and he's a genius. It's Joe Licio from Harvest Sound. But why do I mention him? Because he's keeping them on their toes. He's making them all sound great, and he provides pretty much what's called the back line, which is everything but the instruments. He does the sound, he does the drums, he does the amps, you know, even the drum riser. And Harvest Woods Audio. We'll give him a plug, and I'll actually share this with him, so he'll think that I do that on every interview.
Right.
Don't tell him.
Does anybody have anything else to say? I mean, I'll have everyone give one more plug, but is there anything else to say before we go?
Well,
I will say a person's name, and they have to ask me a question, starting with Fred Velez.
yes, sir.
Ask me a question.
Okay, Charles. Besides,
Time's off. Mike Ventrella, your turn.
When you organize the bands, do you take into consideration their different styles so there are not too many bands that are similar to each other, or is it just randomly how they get in order?
Very good question. So this is an intelligent man asking questions. I wouldn't take 10 bands who all dressed and did early Beatles, for example. I wouldn't take 10 bands who I saw were club versions of Beatle bands, and we have 1 or 2 of those, and they're great because they rock a little harder. They do this stuff maybe a hair faster, so it's more danceable. There's a very big difference between a Beatles band that plays clubs and Beatle bands that play concerts. And if I in fact had bands that were very similar in nature, they're spread apart. They would never be one after the other if they were similar. And I guess the only reason the Hofners and Britain's Best New Jersey are similar is because they both dress up. But otherwise, you know, they're very, very different. The stuff they're doing is different. But as I think about the list of the bands and the acts we have, even the Monkees, you know, band mixes it up. And the fact that Brute Force is doing his thing in between, that mixes it up too. I don't think there's anyone who ever sit there and would say, oh gosh, we're hearing the same thing. No one would ever say that. And we can give Fred another chance. Go ahead, Fred.
Okay. Besides Brute Force, was there anybody, any other special guests you would have liked to have had at this festival?
Yes, that's a great question. So unlike my conventions where we would have tons of guests, there was one year we had Davy Jones, and we had Norm Rossington from A Hard Day's Night, and all these people from the BBC. It was Brian, and it was Bernie, and it was Shirley Jones, and it was all people who were part of that anthology and all that. And I always would try to get I'd want to get one major guest and a ton of other guests. So like when we had Pete Best, the same year we had Andy White. Another year we had Pete Best, we had Horst Fascher. So I'd always have the headliner plus. For the music festivals, again, I wasn't going for that convention thing. So I would never go for multiple guests, but I try to get that little oddball guest that somehow had 6 degrees of separation with Warren, you're always, you know, expected guest. So one year we had Carl Green, who was the bass player of Herman's Hermits, and he was second in charge after Peter Noon. If you watch any of the Herman's Hermits movies, he's the second name credited, and he was a great guest. We had Hilton Valentine, who lived in Connecticut and was the lead guitarist of the Animals. So after Eric Burden, you know, maybe Andy Price, but he was second. He was kind of the second most important, but he was the one who gave us that riff in House of the Rising Sun, and he should rest in peace. He passed, but he was with us. Another one who passed away, who was with us one year, was Gary DiCarlo, the lead singer of Steam. Na 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 na. Hey, good friend of mine, lived in Connecticut. His connection was the fact that that song knocked a Beatles song out of the #1 slot. So it's a dubious distinction, you know, come together #1, and then Na Na, Hey Hey, Kiss 'Em Goodbye knocked it out. But he was a big Beatle fan, and he said, "You're sure the fans won't be upset that No, please."
A record.
We always want the guy. The last one we had was Gene Cornish of the Rascals.
Sure.
Great guest, and definitely Beatle connections with Sid Bernstein and with Shea Stadium and all that. But this year, my first go-tos were Billy J. Kramer, who couldn't do it, and Ronnie Spector, who lives in Connecticut, who couldn't do it. And Brute Force, if you're listening, it's not that you're my third choice. It's just that I didn't think of you, and I'm glad I did, because I think you are a novelty, and I think you are going to be a great guest. And does everyone believe my yellow hair matches my shirt? Did anyone notice
Perfect.
that?
Absolutely.
That was
First
my
thing I
question.
thought of.
Now, when Brute Force performs his song, is that when the kiddies have to go to the bathroom or something?
No, we're not going to tell the kiddies that there's, something R-rated about that song, because if you don't tell them, they'll never notice it until they go home and they're singing it. But then,
They're singing
Got the
in the
life
car
way
on the way home. Mommy, I learned a new song today. You want to hear it?
I do have a question about Brute Force. Is he just singing the one song, or does he have a set of other things that he sings and does as well?
He's singing the one song.
Okay, that's fine. Fair enough. At least he's singing that one song.
I fear that it gets worse than that one song, so we can't take a chance.
Who knows what else he has back there he's going to be singing. Exactly.
But I'm sure it'll be fun.
Fred asked me, and our illustrious host, Mark, do you have any fun ideas for questions for me?
I think I'm running out of questions. I guess I just want to kind of wrap it up here just while we're a little more enthusiastic about it. And we'll just go around. I'll end with you, Charles. So Michael, this is your chance to promote your end of what you're doing all over again, and what to see and what you're doing there at the convention.
Sure. Well, basically, if anyone is interested in any of my books, you can go to michaelaventrella.com or be a friend on Facebook. And if you search Michael Ventrella, you'll find either me or the guy who won the world's Biggest Loser contest on TV years ago. So if you see Michael A. Ventrella, Biggest Loser, it's not referring to me. And I'll have my books, obviously.
And Fred.
My turn. Yes. Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing everybody. It's been too long since I've done the festival like this, and this is going to be a lot of fun. And I'll be bringing me books. So buy me books, folks. And the books are available. If you don't get them at the fest, they are available. They're both available on Amazon. And you get them there, both as print books and Kindles. As for the CD, you can get it from me at the festival. And I don't have a website up yet. I'm planning to have one as soon as possible. But if you're on Facebook, you can contact me, private message on Facebook, and we'll work out. You can get a signed copy of the CD from me. Again, it's a little bit Christmas. It's Christmas songs done in the style of the Monkees. And I did this before the Monkees' own Christmas record. So I hope, Mark has gotten a copy and he likes it, like I said. So, and I know everybody else will enjoy it if they listen to it. And buy me books.
All right. And Charles, one of these days I will come to one of your shows, probably in 2022. I didn't know you were going to do this show so fast. I just can't get away. I would love to go. So anyway, take it away. Promote the show one more time.
I would love for you to come on one of our tours. We do the Beatle tours to London and Liverpool every summer, which is the big baby that I love to promote.
Oh, I'd love to go to one. Yeah,
it's the ultimate. People, just all the things you've ever read about in books, seen on postcards, heard in the songs, comes to life on our tours, and we do it every August during Beatle Week. So 2022 is going to be the next ones, and that's www.liverpooltours.com. Before I give the plug, I want to thank you, Mark, for doing the special show for this. I've been your co-host on a lot of programs, and we have a lot of fun, interviewing other people. But thank you this was the first time I've been on your show as the guest since we first met. So we're going to talk about the Fab. Look at how that works. Fab.
Yeah, beautiful.
Festival. Fred, don't talk. You take the screen away from me. It's July. Is it backwards? It's
No,
backwards.
it's
No, it
perfectly
looks fine to
So
us.
Fab
Looks
4
fine to
Music
us.
Festival, July 10, 2021. 10
And
great bands, one beautiful day, Nolan Field, Estonia, Connecticut.
Ansonia, not in,
Ins-
it's not.
Insomnia,
Insomnia.
Insomnia, Connecticut.
It's near people who know the East Coast. It's near New Haven. It's not far from Yale. It's near Fairfield County. It's considered the Valley. Let me see if my mouth can go under this. And it's www.fab4musicfestival.com. The number 4 tickets are only $19.99 in advance. It's worth it. You're paying $2 a band for an all-day great event. A little more at the door, a little more if you want to do VIP. Do VIP. It's better. And you'll get to see me, and you get to see Fred, and you get to see Michael, and all the bands, and all the great stuff. And just say hello. If you heard it on this show, please, you'll blow us away, and it'll be a miracle. And we'll say hello, and we'll say hi, and then we'll give Mark our regards as well.
Very good. All right. I want to thank you all three for being my special guests on today's Fun Ideas podcast, and hope to see you next time. Have a good night.
Good night.
Hey.